Hey guys, this is Eric Weingarten with Weingarten Racing. It's Saturday, so it's your update video day. I'm gonna start off with this. To all the Cam Challenge, small block Ford Cam Challenge competitors, your deadline is approaching and I don't have your cam. May 1st, the cam has to be here. I have 6 camshafts that are here now. One showed up today. They're very interesting. For those that just don't know anything about that, there's a small block Ford Cam Challenge that's gonna take place probably sometime in May, but their cam's gotta be here May 1st. Anyway, I'm going to have a 427 small block Ford with a set of trick flow high port heads that I've ported. And we're going to be dynoing those. And we're doing solid roller camshafts. The RPM range is 5,000, 7,500 RPM. Anyway, that's going to take place, like I said, in May. And right now it looks like just 6 camshafts. But it's supposed to be 15 total entries. So we'll see. Hopefully they get their camshafts in. But that's going to take place in May, in case you're wondering what I'm talking about. If you're like, I would love to see those cam cards, you can show me the cam cards. I'm going to release all the cam cards to the people that donated. And that's going to be in this link in the description for this video. There'll be a link for you to donate, and you can see all the data for the small block Ford Cam Challenge. So on probably May 2nd, I'm going to drop all the cam cards in there, and you get to see every single one. Now, for the rest of you that won't donate because financial reasons or whatever, eventually you'll get to see the cam cards. It'll just be whenever I do a video on them. And I don't know when that'll be, because the cam challenge is going to take all week to get done probably. And then I'll probably put out little videos at a time, because if I did one gigantic one, you'll watch 11 minutes and no more. So it wouldn't make any sense. Anyway, make sure you get it in so we can do that. But there's that. Let me go on to other stuff. So on Sunday, I got to get on a chassis dyno at Mactown Speed in McAllister, Oklahoma, to chassis dyno this Nova. This Nova is a 434 small block Chevy. It has a 671 Root supercharger. It's not high helix or anything. I did port the heads on this, though. They're an older set of Dart Pro ones. They're the non-platinum versions. Unfortunately, our dyno session didn't go as planned. So it sounds like this. Usually doesn't get good reading. And it ended like this. So after that little pull, we made a couple more pulls on it. And I'm pretty much the tuner that was there. So that's the timing kind of low at 24 degrees, just kind of get a baseline. So he does that 6,000 rip, and then we decided to take it to 7,000. And it's making 670 something horsepower. So not bad, but I was like, well, that's good. Let's just add 2 degrees of timing and let's see what happens, because it's really pretty conservative on timing. We pulled all the plugs, checked all that as well, but it looked pretty conservative. Everything is nice. Let's just try 2 degrees. It's only making like 6 pounds of boost. But when I went to check timing, and I had set it, like I said, at 24 degrees, we started up and I put my timing light on at 65 degrees. I was like, wow, that is not right. But it's idling at the same RPM, so like something's definitely wrong, right? So then I was like, well, maybe it's my timing light. Let me grab a different one. Same thing, 65. So then we're just trying to chase down if there's any other probabilities, because there's a couple of things that actually can change your timing in case you're ever happen to be in the position. One, he has an adjustable slip collar distributor. And if you don't tighten down the adjustable slip collar, what will happen is, yes, you could tighten down your clamp holding down the distributor, but because the collar is not tight to the actual distributor itself, it could allow the distributor to rotate, and that could change your actual timing. Even though the distributor hold down clamp is holding it down, it's just not keeping it from twisting. That's one possibility. The other thing can be camshaft in play. So if you have too much camshaft in play, especially if you're not watching it or didn't set it up correctly, you could have 25 degrees or whatever. You could shut it off and it'll move the cam. And when it moves the cam, it somehow moves the distributor as far as it's phasing with the rotor. And then that changes your timing. You'll start up, it'll be off 20 degrees. You'll set it again, and then it'll change again. So, but it didn't make any sense that it could have been either one of what I'm just describing, because the idle stays the same. So if you advance the engine more, typically the idle speed picks up. If you retard, it typically slows down. In this case, the idle speed was exactly the same. So it seems as though the timing is actually what it should be, which means there's only one other possibility that's left, and that's that either the keyway broke off, which is what happened here, or somehow it rotated on this. In other words, the rubber gave up and it's causing the outer ring to rotate on the balancer. He's running Innovator West, so it's highly unlikely it's that, but it's definitely that it has moved. So upon further inspection, pull it off. We have a broke keyway, and that keyway had rolled in and it caused it to kind of lock itself, the bit dampener, onto the crank in a different position. That's why the timing looked different as far as when you're checking it. The engine's true timing still probably would have been 24. Did we make any more pulls like this? Hell no. Because the only thing stopping the harmonic balancer from rotating on the crank snout is just a sliver of metal. So it's the end of the day for that, wrapped up. So he ordered a new crank for me. We're getting a scat with a big block post and 2 keyways. This should eliminate that problem. Do I think it's anything just because a 671 did it? No, it could have been a bunch of things. He wasn't entirely certain that he even torqued down the harmonic balancer bolt, so there could have been other issues, or it could have been a crankshaft keyway failure. It's really hard to say. Not really the keyway, the key itself. But that was Sunday. Then on Thursday, I got on the engine dyno at Dunsworth Machine. If you're a channel member, I'm going to drop all this info into that folder that you guys have so you can see all the stuff from this engine. I just haven't had a time. It's been pretty busy here lately, right after the dyno and everything. But here's what it is, and this will be a later video in a couple weeks probably. But this is a 414 or 417, really what it ends up being, cubic inch wide, small block Chevy. It's got a BMP aluminum block, scat rod, scat crank, really nice diamond pistons. These are custom ones for nitrous. Nice stuff. This engine's 13 to 1. It has a set of my Dragon Slayers on it, the 4060 ones. These are my hand-ported ones. And it's got a 2892 that I ported, and someone else also modified the top so that you can run a Dominator with that one. Then it has a bump stick Bobby from the guy to the winner of the LS Cam Challenge. He did the camshaft for this. And this is a nitrous camshaft. So this is a truly nitrous camshaft. I'll put it this way. It has more duration than my 540 big block Chevy has on both intake and exhaust. So it's a true nitrous engine. I mean, you can see the nitrous stuff there. It's going to get sprayed 450 shot. But the point for this dyno session is pretty much just to see, make sure the engine's okay, check it NA. Because at the end of the last season, this customer, he had torched one of the pistons so it gets all put back together. We had dynoed it before, and just looking at the combination before, it was 15 something to 1. Now we're 13 to 1. We made, I think, maybe 5 more horsepower peak. Torque was down just a tad, but I'd expect that from 2 points less compression and a way different camshaft, which I can't wait to tell that video. But it did make over 700 horsepower, and it spun to the moon. Really nice thing, and you should be happy. So look for a video on that much later. But that was Thursday. But I'm going to end the video with this. I'm still having my cylinder head sell until Easter. For those that don't know, I have right now, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 210s full CNC ported. And they're like the Pro Max, but they're not the Pro Max. So it's the same foundry that makes the Pro Max, which happens to be over in China. But they are different from the Pro Maxes. An obvious tell is the end plate. So a Pro Max is perfectly, this is the exhaust side. The Pro Max is perfectly milled all the way flat. That's one difference. But as far as the port design, they're the same. The other difference is, though, I run 8mm stuff, and Pro Max only uses 11/32 on their valve stems. This one, these CNC ones are not my port design. They were, I don't know where they got the design from. They look very similar to an AFR 210 and a 220, so maybe they might have borrowed that design. I don't know. I don't want to say that. But anyway, they're CNC'd over in China as well. And I mention all this because they're on sale. So if you do the hydraulic roller, I got 4 of the 210s. They're $16.50. This one's a 220, and I only have 1 set of those. And by the way, $16.50 set up for hydraulic roller, 650 lift. I've got the 220 is $100 more expensive, and I've only got one set. And then also looking at this, I've got a set of 215 as cast that are down there, small block Chevy. I got a set of 205s for the small block Ford, which is just like that's what's used on the Dyno Mule. Those are 1650. The small block Ford 185, 1650. And then I've got two sets of the 290 big block Chevy heads as cast, the 360 as cast pair, and then I've got two pairs of 315 big block Chevys. These are just, like I said, similar to the Pro Max 317s, not exact. Once these are gone, I'm being as honest as I can be, and the reason why I'm even mentioning it, because after Easter, I'm probably jacking up the price. And you're like, how dare you? I'm going to tell you why. I don't know when you'll ever get these heads in again. It's an uncertain time on this type of stuff. Because, yes, this is a Chinese casting, and this is not Pro Comp. So I say that, and every time people think it's Pro Comp. Pro Comp is not even in the same league as this one, okay? I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to even hint. There's a major supplier that reboxes these, and they might start with a D and claims them to be their own, maybe HP version. I'm leaving off one letter. Same head, same casting, same spot, and that's an American company, a major one, allegedly. So these are not Pro Comp. They're far, far superior to that. Their castings, and since I have a CNC program for these, or Pro Max as a 235 that I designed, their castings are far more consistent than many, many, many American manufacturers. And yes, it pains me as an American to say that. Their castings are nice. And if you're like, nah, American's superior. If you don't deal in this world, you don't understand. If you don't grind on the heads, you don't understand. I know when I'm hitting pockets of air. I even had one this week on a trick flow, actually. On the deck when I went to surface, found a void. Not to say it didn't happen in Chinese stuff or these type heads from this Chinese manufacturer, because I'm sure that they do, but it's different. I'm saying all of this because the President of the United States, when he put that tariff on the Chinese heads, or Chinese products, period, which is 145%, and I'm just using generic math just to make this easy. If this pair of heads cost $1,000 with that tax on it, when he said 1,000, I think he said 1,000, or 125%, that $1,000 set of heads would now cost $2,250. And any businessman here that's importing them, and that tax is not paid by China. I'm sorry, they aren't. It's paid by the company that gets them in. That's the company that pays the tax. So no company that's importing them into America is going to do that. Instead, what they're going to do is they're going to wait, because maybe he'll change his mind the next day, the ruler of the President of the United States. And maybe next week he doesn't have a tariff. So let's say you I need inventory, and you brought all those in, and you've got a head that costs, and I'm doing generic numbers, obviously, $2,250. But let's say he backs it down to $50 or 50% tariff next time. Everybody else will be shipping in the same head. Will only cost them $1,500, and you've got a set of heads that are $2,250 that you haven't cost. You can never get your money back out of them. So what I'm trying to say is, anybody that has these heads here, if they have them now, that might be the last that you will see for months. Months, understand this. And racing is very expensive, and it keeps getting more expensive each year. And I'm saying this because obviously I sell racing parts, but there needed to be a budget alternative. There just had to be. And I'm not and I'm not even trying to get political, but I'm not trying to support another country at all, but we needed a cheaper option. People don't get out of racing not because it's not fun anymore. They get out because they can't afford it anymore. So there isn't another option. And then you're like, well, what about the American companies? They can just ramp up production. Okay, I want to bring this up. I probably sell more Brodix heads than even this. That's an easy thing. Brodix are cast down in Mena, Arkansas. I love the whole Brodix family. They're terrific people and nice to deal with. If you know anything about Brodix, they're a family-owned company, and that's what I like even more. I hate private equity-owned companies. Thoroughly hate them. But Brodix, family-owned company, America, great. The thing with Brodix is they have been at 100% capacity for at least the last 3 years. So if you lose all these people from the market, all right, all the Chinese heads or whatever else, and you're like, they'll be made more in America, Brodix has no more capacity to give, okay? In order to do that, they would have to invest millions of dollars to build a facility to do cast even more heads. So they're gonna, which you're like, well, they should do that. It's very uncertain for them to do that. So let's say they've invested all that millions, then you have a next president or whatever takes over, and then they get rid of those tariffs. Now they're in the same position or worse, because now they've got all this millions in debt from trying to build this facility to ramp up production that's no longer doesn't need to be. So it's a very tough position to be in an American company for that. Or some companies, like say for instance Profiler's heads are cast in America. The company that overs the parent company, they don't cast just heads, they cast other stuff. So if you're a foundry and you're casting things, why in the world would you cast a performance part that only makes you say $100 when you can cast stuff for the military industrial complex and make 5 times more? Because a lot of the foundries, because there's a foundry here in Pryor, Oklahoma, they don't really cast this stuff because there's no profit in it. They could do the same amount of time and effort and produce something for the government that makes them way more money. So it's really complicated. And I'm not blaming on any one person, but I want to be honest when I say the heads are on sale. Once they're gone, I don't know when they'll ever be back. Not that they haven't produced plenty over in China, still waiting to be there, but I don't know when they'll come back, like I said, with the tariffs. So that's the biggest reason why I'm even saying this. And I got nothing against China. I mean, I got nothing against any of the American producers or whatever else. You might read it politically, whatever way you feel today. Like, I don't care. I just know people leave racing. And when racing dies, I think it's bad overall. It hurts American companies when they do that. So anyway, point for being is if you want them, you better get them because they may not be here long. So even if they stopped it today, there's going to be a delay. So, and I haven't even talked about the parts. This is just the heads. So I will say this one more thing just to go on it. The valves in every head, almost every head I sell, actually every head, those valves are made in Argentina. So I don't know of any American company that still actually makes valves for heads in America. I don't. They're not made here. Not one single one. And the best valves I know of are Ferrea for stainless steel. And I'm talking about stainless steel, by the way. They're all made in Argentina. And there was a tariff put on them. So if the valves cost more, heads cost more, right? There's no mystery on this deal. Now for titanium, I use Victory One. They're an American company. I don't know where the titanium comes, though. The titanium might come from another country, and then that gets a tax, so the titanium valves cost more, even though it's an American company. Point being is, I don't think this is good, and everything's going to go up in cost. So right now, I haven't raised my prices, but I'm not an idiot. I mean, once everybody else's inventory gets low and you still have these and you're able to sell them still less, a little bit less than the American stuff, you're going to make quite a bit of money. So, and I'm not trying to be that greedy guy. I'm not. That's why they're still on sale. Anybody could buy them if they want them. Anyway, that's all for that. I know I got a little rant. Just point being is, still have a sale. Oh, and I do have one set of, I just missed those at the bottom. That's a set of 340cc CNC ported big block heads. They're Chinese as well. They look a lot like an AFR head. I do put AFR valves on, hence those, which are cast in Argentina or made in Argentina. Anyway, those are all for that. That set, those 340s fully assembled for a solid roller is $3,000. Anyway, going on. So I'm going to wrap up the video. I just got back from my son's swim meet. We went down to Bartlesville. They had a dual meet, little fun one for swimming. But that's the reason why I'm kind of wrapping this up. I don't want to give you any more negative stuff. And honestly, I'm not even going to lie. Earlier in this week, I saw someone else's video, and I was like, I'm going to do it really. Just going to tell them what a moron they are with their thoughts. But I didn't, so I'm kind of proud of myself for that. But I don't think I should give any more negative stuff after I said what I did about the heads anyway, because that's enough bad news for anyway. But guys, thanks for watching. I look forward to what's going to happen this week. But you guys take care. I'm no Superman, but I did race Superboy, and I don't port cast iron heads. Take care.